Fine. So look at this. Last time we discussed this one, fiber optic communication link, and I have provided you a general idea. Okay, not only the fiber optic link, but in general, whatever the system you want to set up, or whatever the system we are going to use in our daily life, or in wherever you find. Okay, there has to be a proper system. Okay, somewhere system signal has to be there. Transmitter is also there. Of course, the format will be different, but this is the general setup which you can find everywhere. Then medium also required. Okay, suppose if I'm talking with you, then that air will be there. If face to face we are talking, then via air we are transmitting, we are communicating with each other. Okay, so that's how that medium can be different depending on the criteria where you are exactly and where you want to send the signal. But here in this case, as you see, optical fiber cables we are going to use as a medium. And of course you require some connectors. Okay, so all such important parameters we have discussed with some unique example in the last lecture. And just wanted to clear one more thing. This particular system is also known as FOCL. Okay, fiber optic communication link. So it may come in exam with various naming also, so but don't need to bother. Whenever you see some communication or system, actually if they are talking about, that means this part only we are discussing. Okay, or FOCL if you see, or communication link you see. Okay, so just look at to this part carefully. Now let me come to the next. So components. So last time we have left with this. Okay, we have to discuss this component part today. So you see the basic elements found in this fiber system are this transmitter, as you have seen just from the diagram. The transmitter is there. Let me annotate for you people. So this transmitter, fiber optic cables, okay, a receiver and connectors. So important, of course there are one or two more components you can also write down over here, that is not a problem, but these are the main component. Even receiver I have noted down over here. Okay, so broad component I have written in this part, and now we have to discuss all such component one by one. So let me go to the next. Just wait a minute again. Today some problem is there with internet. Yeah, anyway, so now come to this part again. Okay, transmitter. So transmitter, again you see, converts an electrical signal. Now this signal can be of any type. Okay, so here I considered it's an electric signal. Okay, so this converts an electrical signal to a light signal. Okay, and let me minimize this also, just 1 minute. Yeah. Second, as I said, you have already seen this transmitter consists of driver and source. Okay, and again you see the input to the driver, because we have to give in the input signal. Okay, so input to the driver is the signal from the equipment being served. So आपको जो भी signal provide करना है, you required some source or some equipment from which we are supplying the signal to the driver side. Now look at here the role of driver in this case. So this driver circuit, it changes the input signal into a form which is required to operate the source. So whatever the signal you may have from this equipment, okay, you need to modify it, okay, in a proper format so that it can be transmitted through the medium. Okay, तो उस हिसाब से उसको change करना है आपके output को, so that can be done. Input को change करना है, that can be done by the driver part. And here is the source. You see, so source is basically the same by which you are carrying that signal. Okay, so either you can use a light emitting diode, or you can use laser diode or laser light also. So that converts the signal, right? That converts the actual conversion part. Okay, so you look at here, so that converts this actual signal so that it can be transmitted to the other side. Now come to the next one, optical sources. Okay, second part, driver and source. So again you see in the source, so these are the things you have to keep in mind. Okay, so major part you see of optical transmitters. Okay, some sources like LEDs either we are going to use, or maybe laser lights we are going to use. Okay, and these are the characteristics of that light source. So it is very important. Why? Because whatever the light source you are going to use, that must match some of the quality factors or some of the characteristics that light source must have. Okay, first is this one, it can operate, okay, should be operate at various temperature over the years. Okay, that means whatever the source you are having, it may have to working on some different temperatures also. At least there has to be some range of temperature at which your device can work, okay, or your source can work. And second thing is it has to work over the years, because this is also very important. Otherwise, if durability is not there, if your source is not working properly, and even every one every once or twice, okay, एक दो बार आप यूज कर लो, and then if it is getting destroyed, or if it is getting fused or something, so then again it is of no use, because you have to spend a lot of amount of on these small components. So that it is always preferable that whatever the source you are going to use, okay, that can operate over a various temperature range. And the second is it can sustain for a longer time. Otherwise, every time you have to keep on changing your light source itself, that may be costly in some cases. Second thing is, this parameter also we are keeping in mind that source is comparatively cheap. Okay, then only you can, suppose if it is going bad, or source is going bad, then you can easily replace it. Usually you can purchase it, the new source, and replace the old one. So if it is not cheap, then it again very difficult, because if that faulty, or if that fault is going to become very frequently, okay, then again it may create the problem, because you have to spend a lot of money on that source itself. So source has to be reliable basically, right, ताकि आप easily उस पे rely कर पाओ. And even it has to be cheap also, so that in future if you want to change it, one can easily change it. So cheap and reliable, you see. And third one, it has to emit the light at the wavelength where the fiber has low losses, okay, and low dispersion, and where the detectors are efficient. Yani you need to use a light source as per the requirement of your optical fiber system. Okay, these are the important parameters you have to keep in mind while selecting the source for a particular system. Just to take an example, okay, so suppose अगर मुझे आपको कुछ कंटेंट ट्रांसफर करना है, तो मुझे पता होना चाहिए कि कौन सा वाला टॉपिक मुझे आपको किस में समझाना है, ताकि आप लॉस जो होगा सिग्नल का, यानी जो मैं समझाना चाहता हूँ आपको, दैट कैन बी डायरेक्टली कम्युनिकेटेड टू यू इन वेरी सिंपल लैंग्वेज, हो ना, लॉस होने के चांस कम से कम हो. और आपको मुझे मुझे आपकी फ्रीक्वेंसी के साथ मैच करना है कि आप किस फ्रीक्वेंसी का कंटेंट अंडरस्टैंड कर पा रहे हो. ओके, कौन सी फ्रीक्वेंसी, कौन सा ट्यूनिंग हमारा बीच का सेट हो पा रहा है. सो उस फ्रीक्वेंसी के हिसाब से आई नीड टू डिलीवर द कंटेंट. ओके, उस पेस के हिसाब से मुझे डिलीवर करना है. अगर वो कम ज्यादा हुआ, देन ऑफ कोर्स वो जो आपका सोर्स है, इवन जो आपका फाइबर है, यानी कि यू एंड मी, सो वो ट्यूनिंग अगर नहीं होगा, देन देयर विल बी लॉस इन दैट सिस्टम. सो आपको क्या करना है, यू नीड टू यूज अ सोर्स इन सच ए मैनर कि वो कंपेटिबल हो आपके सिस्टम के साथ में. Okay, so that's what, these are the practical side, or you can consider, of any sources. Coming to the next, LED and lasers. Okay, so again I have given a comparison over here between LED and lasers, in which case one can go for LEDs and in which case one can go for lasers. Okay, so this part I am leaving for you people. This activity I am going to leave for you people, because now you can find out more such data about LEDs and lasers. Okay, you may have performed some experiment also on the LEDs, something. So now it will be very clear to find out the comparison between these two. Okay, so I am skipping this one. I am not going to discuss this part, because now you are aware, and it is now your task to find out the comparison between these two properly. Coming to the receiver.
Sir.
So you see the receiver again, this is also very important part, as I said. And you see the role of receiver. Here it is, we are saying optical receiver because it is used in the optical system. Okay, so the role of optical receiver is to convert the optical signal, okay, back to the electrical signal. I mean original signal mein aapko, you need to convert it again and recover the data transmitted through optical fiber communication system. Again same thing, first you need to modulate and then demodulate your signal. So same thing, demodulation part can be done with this receiver. Okay, so that will convert your original signal into the electrical signal, or whatever the signal you may have in the input side. Okay, so that's what this receiver is going to do. Okay, now look at this part. What is the component of receiver? So this receiver contains detector, as we have seen already, amplifier and output circuit. Of course there may be many more components, but these are the main component which are there in a particular receiver. Okay, so that only we are discussing right now. But when you go in detail, maybe in the higher semester, when you go in proper depth, that time you see that apart from these three, there may be many more components. Okay, and then you will come to know about their importance also. Coming to these amplifiers, as I said, it enhances the attenuate signal from the detector. So whatever, see, many a times when you detect the signals, then also some chances are there that your signal may attenuate. If you use the amplifier, then you can enhance the signal, basically signal quality. So that's why you have to use the amplifiers things. Coming to this outputs, okay, so again you see it performs many functions such as pulse reshaping and timing. So again, when you attenuate means loss, simply agar मैं बोलूं तो it is basically lost. Okay, so loss होना technical words में we are saying as attenuate. So you see this perform many functions such as pulse reshaping. Okay, जैसे कि मैंने आपको बोला था, it is like output, which kind of output you required. Okay, whether you want for the class test or for the mid sem or for the final semester exam. So accordingly, this output part is very important. Okay, so whatever the output you required at the end, okay, pulse के form में, so that pulse you can control it, the size you can control, you the shape also you can control, even the time interval also you can control. Okay, and in some numerical you have also done some numerical with on this pulse width. So that's how you can control the pulse width of a particular signal. And pulse width is nothing but we are denoting in time interval only. So that's how you can control all such things. Okay, as per the requirement of your output in this output section part. Okay, so that you see to ensure compatibility and gain control. So as I said, depending on the requirement of output which you want at the end, you can do these things in the output part. Okay, coming to the next, connectors. As I said, again I am focusing every time that connectors are very important. Okay, and if you remember in the last time I have given you the reference for this connector as our number of lectures. Okay, so suppose if all lectures you are attending, that means your connectors are connected. But there are also cases, suppose if your connector is loose, that means you are present in the class, okay, but your mind is not in the classroom or in the attending the content, but your mind is roaming somewhere else. So that means your fiber is connected, but it is loosely connected, it is not tightly connected. So if that is the case, then also your signal is going to be lost. Okay, so that's why I said these connectors are very important part, because even though we know that transmitter is having no fault, receiver is also, I consider that there is no fault in the receiver also, everything is working fine. Okay, medium is also working fine, but this connector, which is a very small quantity if you look at in the system, but though it is a small, but it's a very important, because if connectors are not connected properly in any system, okay, then of course you will lose your signal. Okay, so let me discuss again here in this case of optical fiber part. Let me change this color. Yeah, so you see this optical fiber connectors, okay, used to join optical fibers where a connect और disconnect capability is required. Okay, तो आपको देखना है कि आपको क्या करना है, कनेक्ट करना है, डिस्कनेक्ट करना है. ऑफ कोर्स यू रिक्वायर्ड कनेक्टर्स एवरी टाइम. टर्मिनेट करना हो तो भी आपको एक एंड पे कनेक्टर्स का रिक्वायरमेंट होगा. एंड यू सी द सेकंड फैक्टर, द कनेक्टर डिजाइन मस्ट अलाउ फॉर रिपीटेड कनेक्शन. ओके, तो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप जो डिजाइन है आपको ऐसे यूज करना है कि वो आप मल्टीपल जगह से आप कनेक्ट कर पाओ या एक दूसरे के साथ में आप कनेक्ट कर पाओ, and disconnection without problems of fiber alignment. So these are the important part. Okay, connection disconnection can be allowed very easily, okay, without any fiber alignment. So this is you required. Okay, otherwise what happens, this degradation will be there. Okay, agar ye fulfill nahi hota hai. So that's how you have to design your connectors very carefully. But some of the features I have listed down over here. First, low insertion loss, that means same attenuate. Okay, so it has to be minimum. Yani jab when you incident the signal through the connectors, there itself the losses has to be very less. Okay, यानी कि वहीं से आपको कनेक्टर्स ऐसे डिजाइन करना है कि आप अगर 100% इनपुट उसके एक एंड पे सप्लाई कर रहे हो तो दूसरा एंड पूरा ऑलमोस्ट 100% ट्रांसमिट कर दे. Okay, so that's how inserting loss has to be minimum. Okay, this is also one term people are going to use, high return loss. Okay, that means in general if अगर इसको आप देखो this word को, then it means low amounts of reflection at the interface. यानी ये कम से कम होना चाहिए, so it has to be less basically. Okay, amount of reflection loss at the interface, so ये कम से कम होना चाहिए आपका return loss. Second, Third, ease of installation. So this connectors has to be very easy so that everyone can install it, right? So you have to design in such a manner so that you don't need to call every time some technical person. If it is very
Hello,
simple,
sir.
then people can easily install it also. Second is
Hello, sir.
oh, someone is saying something again. It seems network connectivity problem. So let me check out the internet connection one more time. Just wait a minute. Can you say something now?
Hello, sir.
Someone is saying something. I'm not getting any voice.
Hello, sir.
Just wait a minute.
Hello.
I think the sound problem.
Hello, sir. So I think you have to reconnect yourself. Hello.
Yes, now you can please.
Sir,
Hi, yes.
what is the need of that second point? What will happen if this reflection at the interface will be more? It won't make any sense, right?
No, what I was saying is, see, when you connect this, so that connector and your medium, so that interface basically it is asking about. So at the interface, that reflection loss has to be minimum. Okay, so actually that's why I said, वो जो high return loss है, actually it has to be low return loss. I already told to you also that that amount of reflection has to be less at the interface.
Okay.
Are you getting that interface where this connectors and that medium is going to be connected? That interface I am asking. So let me go to the diagram, then it may be clear. Here it is. Okay, let me clear it everything. Yeah, here in this part you see. Let me annotate. See, this is your connector, okay, and this is your medium, optical fiber cable medium, right? If these two are in contact, suppose this is the place. Right now it seems it's a circuit diagram only, setup only, but यहाँ पे suppose these are connecting cut to cut like this, okay? तो ये जो इंटरफेस है आपका ये वाला दोनों के बीच का, if you consider both are in contact with each other, तो ये जो इंटरफेस है, at which interface this losses has to be minimum. स्केटरिंग लॉस सो दैट अगर स्केटरिंग लॉस कम से कम होगा तभी वो डायरेक्टली जो सिग्नल होगा यहाँ से तो पूरा आप इस मीडियम के थ्रू ट्रांसफर कर पाओगे नाउ इट इज क्लियर
Okay, sir, got it.
या ओके
सर
यस
सर वो फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड पार्ट में डिफरेंस क्या था वो अटेन्यूएशन और इंटरफियरेंस लॉस में मतलब क्या डिफरेंस है
हाँ मैं उस पर भी आता हूँ एक मिनट वो भी डिस्कस कर लेते हैं ये वाला दिस वन फर्स्ट हेलो
यस सर
Yeah, so this first is basically when you insert the signal through the connector. Okay, so let me again go to the diagram and I will display you where exactly this point is. Here it is. This point. When this transmitter is connected to this connector, so basically this transmitter connector interface, okay, why this signal is going in forward direction. Okay, so this place when it is transmitting from this transmitter to this connector side, at this place this losses has to be minimum. Are you getting? There are two different things. One is this transmitter connector interface and second is this connector or medium interface. So that's how these two I have written carefully. Let me go to that.
ओके सर
Yeah, now you can see again. Let me annotate one more time. So this is at the first interface. Okay, you see when you are going to insert your signal, okay, with this let's say to this connector, transmitter to the connector. That time I was talking about this one, and this is in the second case when this connector is connected with the medium. Okay, so here it is the optical fiber. So that दैट इंटरफेस बेसिकली यू हैव टू लुक एट। तो वहां पे भी आपका जो अमाउंट से रिफ्लेक्शन का वो कम से कम होना चाहिए। ज्यादा रिफ्लेक्ट होगा अगर वहां से, देन अगेन यू विल बी लूजिंग योर सिग्नल। So I hope these two are clear to you, right? It seems confusing, but actually it depends on which interface you are talking about. Clear now?
सर
हाँ, yes.
सर सेकेंड वाला पॉइंट है वो रिसीवर में नहीं होना चाहिए।
किसमें?
रिसीवर और ऑप्टिकल फाइबर के बीच में जो इंटरफेस होता है वहां पे नहीं हो जाएगा, क्योंकि रिटर्न का बोला है तो।
लेकिन हाँ, लेकिन return loss in the sense you don't consider return for receiver part, okay? But whatever you are saying, that is also correct, that this particular case will also applicable to the receiver end, because receiver and this connector is also in contact, okay? यानी मीडियम के थ्रू जब आप वापस करोगे रिसीवर की साइड में, देन ऑल्सो दिस थिंग विल हैपन। तो रादर देन आप 2 बार इसको रिपीट करो, इसीलिए मैंने केवल एक ही बार लिखा। बट रिमेंबर, जहां पे भी आपका कनेक्टर और मीडियम इंटरफेस अगर कॉन्टेक्ट में होंगे, दिस काइंड ऑफ लॉसेस यू हैव टू कीप इट मिनिमम। बट दिस रिटर्न हैज नो मीनिंग। रिटर्न मीन्स कि आपका सिग्नल रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है, वापस से आ रहा है। आप जितना सिग्नल प्रोवाइड कर रहे हो, सपोज मैं 100% ट्राई कर रहा हूँ सिग्नल सेंड करने के लिए, लेकिन 95% ही सिग्नल पास हो जा रहा है, 5% जो है वापस लॉस हो जा रहा है, तो उसको टेक्निकल वर्ड्स में हम लोग रिटर्न बोलते हैं कि 5% मेरा जो है सिग्नल वो रिटर्न हो पा रहा है, क्योंकि वो ट्रांसमिट नहीं हो पा रहा है वापस आगे की तरफ। सो वी आर सेइंग इट्स रिटर्न। सो 5% रिटर्न मुझे लॉस में हुआ, दैट्स व्हाट वी आर सेइंग। क्लियर? और ये दोनों तरफ होगा, वेरेवर यू सी दैट इंटरफेस, कनेक्टर और मीडियम का जो इंटरफेस होगा, दैट टाइम यू कैन अप्लाई दिस। क्लियर नाउ? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me go forward. So here it is easy. Okay. Then it has to be low cost. Of course, this is very important because again, if you remember, I have given you one example that suppose if I need to send the signal from Ahmedabad to Surat, for example. Okay. So then I have given you the example also that 20,000. You people only told me that 20,000 connectors are required, something. Okay. So if you think if that is the number we required, that much connectors we required, and if the cost is very high for each connector, then you can imagine. So you will be spending more amount on the connector rather than on the optical fiber cables and other things. So that's why it is very important. Your connector cost has to be minimum और optimum. ज्यादा भी ना हो, ज्यादा होगा तो प्रॉब्लम होगा, क्योंकि बहुत सारा आपका जो अमाउंट है you can invest in that connector itself. So that also you have to keep in mind, because when you design such a large system, okay, so each and every parameter is very, very important in terms of cost also. Of course, the next one you see reliable. So this is also a very important factor. Otherwise, what will happen after let's say 10 days or 15 days, if any one connector is going to be useless, right? Then again, you people knowing that if even one connector is loose, then your entire efforts are going to be almost waste. Okay, so that's why it is very important. Whatever the connectors you use, that can sustain for a longer time. That has to be reliable. Okay, and this is also very important. Low environmental sensitivity. Okay, there are many factors which are affecting the connectors. Okay, just like this. Suppose if I want to transfer the content from my side to you people, but you see there are several parameters which are affecting this. One is internet connectivity, right? So you can easily say that this particular class in which we are teaching, okay, or you are reading, so basically this is sensitive towards internet connectivity. If internet connection is not proper, you may get disturbance, as you have seen today itself many a times. So that is how you can provide this. So your connectors has to be free from this kind of sensitive environment. Okay, otherwise the disturbance will be there, and if disturbance is there, of course the output may not be the same which you are expecting every time. Even I also face, if so much disturbance are coming out like this, then the continuity in the content may not be proper, and because of that someone may lose the attention in the class itself. So that is why connectors are very important. Okay, so here in this case it is this network connectivity. If it is flowing, so if it is flowing perfectly, okay, so then that means your system is working proper. Yes, second point में low ही होना चाहिए. That's what I explained it to you also. Though it is written high, but actually, if you look at clearly, it is low only. कम से कम loss आपका होना चाहिए reflection का. Okay. Last one is the ease of use. Okay, आपका जो connector है
वो यूज करने में भी इजी होना चाहिए. ओके, so such a manner you have to design your connector which can fulfill all these properties, all these features basically. Okay, so this is again a life learning lesson for you people, that suppose if in higher semester or maybe after your BTech course, if you are planning to design something, then these are the things you have to keep in mind. Okay, otherwise so many disturbance will come out with only one single device itself, so then your system may not work properly. So all such things keep in mind. Now come to the next, advantages. Okay, so now I hope everyone are aware with that. Okay, what are the advantages we are having of using this optical fiber cables. Okay, but again I will just go through it very quickly because we need to complete this together. So you see this high bandwidth. Now you people are knowing that, okay, that over a long distance very high bandwidth is possible in single mode optical fiber cable. And high bandwidth, that means high capacity, larger capacity signal can be carried over a distance, okay, with high speed. That's what you see. So optical fiber cables have a large capacity to carry high speed signals over longer distance, okay, without repeaters also than other types. तो other types जितने भी होंगे, let's say आपके कोएक्सियल केबल सिस्टम था या आपका वेवगाइड था, उन सारे के कंपेयर में दिस ऑप्टिकल फाइबर इज हैविंग हाई बैंडविड्थ ओवर ए लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस. Then you see this capacity, as I said again, this information carrying capacity increases with frequency. Okay, so if you are going to increase the frequency range, of course, that means you are going to send large amount of data with that. Okay, so that is why, and the same reason I have written over here, this fiber optic cables have a much greater bandwidth than metal cables. So this bandwidth is nothing but, keep in mind very clearly, bandwidth is the sense I am talking about the frequency range. Okay, so in the optical fiber cable, the frequency range is larger compared to the metal cables, and metal cables are nothing but basically coaxial cable only I am talking about here. Okay, second thing is, see, immunity to EMI and RFI. So EMI is the electromagnetic interference. Okay, RFI is the radio frequency interference. Okay, so your optical fiber cable, since it is made of glass or plastic, so it is not getting affected with EMI or RFI. But if the same thing, if you repeat with your coaxial cable, then they can be easily affected with this EMI as well as this RFI thing. Okay, and that is the reason many a times you may have seen that sometimes your DTH is not working properly in the case of thunder or any thunderstorm, right? Because that particular coaxial, that DTH cable is nothing but the coaxial cable. Okay, so that coaxial cable can be interfered with this EMI and RFI. Okay, so if that is the case, then you may lose your signal, and many times you see on the TV screen that signal is not receiving or something, some display message will come out. Okay, so that is corresponding to that coaxial cable. But if you look at this optical fiber cable, so there is no such metal in this part. Okay, it is only glass or plastic. So these cables are not affected by any of these event, EMI or RFI. So that's how it's immune, one can say, with respect to this EMI and RFI. Come to the
सर
next. Yes.
सर ये RFI भी तो सर है ना, एक लाइट का सिग्नल ही है ना,
हाँ,
तो फिर सर ये तो है ना, और अपना ऑप्टिकल फाइबर केबल में भी जो सिग्नल जा रहा है वो लाइट का ही सिग्नल है.
करेक्ट, लेकिन वो जो मीडियम है वो तो आपका ग्लास है ना, ग्लास इंटरफेयर नहीं करेगा. प्रॉब्लम कहाँ आती है, जब आपका कोएक्सियल केबल में देखो मेटल है, राइट, तो वो अफेक्ट कर जाएगा आपका मेटल के साथ में. लेकिन ये ग्लास के साथ में EMI या ये इसका कुछ इफेक्ट पड़ना ही नहीं है,
नहीं सर, वो
सिग्नल
लास्ट
उसके अंदर है.
सर लास्ट लाइन लिखी हुई है कि RFI एज दे ट्रांसमिट सिग्नल्स इन फॉर्म ऑफ लाइट इंस्टेड ऑफ करंट. इसका मतलब तो यही है ना कि वो ग्लास से रिफ्लेक्ट हो जाएगा जो भी सिग्नल्स है.
नो 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 नो, यू आर टेकिंग इट रॉन्ग. आप पूरा सेंटेंस पढ़ो, RFI के साथ उसको ऐड मत करो, वो आगे वाले सेंटेंस के साथ कनेक्टेड है. Forget about this EMI and RFI. Now you read it then.
ओके,
Clear? इसीलिए मैंने बोला ये आप कैसे समझते हो, क्या समझते हो, कैसे पढ़ते हो, that is also very important. So this sentence, it may seems like, it may be also be possible कि यहाँ पे मुझे एक कॉमा दे देना चाहिए था. Okay, somewhere radio frequency के आसपास. But otherwise, if you look at, you just remove this EMI completely, you remove this RFI, and then let's see. Okay, now you read this sentence.
हाँ समझ में आ गया. यस सर, सही है.
ठीक है, तो वो यहाँ पे मुझे नेक्स्ट टाइम पे मैं ध्यान रखूंगा, यहाँ पे मैं एक कॉमा प्रोवाइड कर दूंगा ताकि ये जो कंफ्यूजन है वो ना हो. क्लियर? नाउ लेट मी मूव फॉरवर्ड. थिनर. ओके, आई थिंक यही है. Yeah. Thinner you see, again, that means आपका optical fiber कितना thin है. So you see, optical fibers are thinner than copper wire. If you remember, then we have discussed many a times that optical fiber having very small diameter core. Even though if you are put cladding, even though if you go with this outer jacket also, then also this optical fiber cables are thin compared to the coaxial cable. Because in the coaxial cable you may have seen many a times. You can see your DTH cable. Okay, that cable is coaxial only touching bulb, so you can easily compare which is thinner. Okay. So in one particular coaxial cable, there may be so many fibers can be accommodated in the same diameter. Okay, you see. So that's how it is thinner compared to this copper cable. Okay, copper wire, and this allows more phone lines. ये अर्लियर का था कि अगर आपको फोन लाइन जो आपने देखा था पहले के टाइम पे जो फोन लाइन थे so many wires will be there inside that because of this setup only this fiber cables yani more number of channels more fibers means more number of channels can be possible in the cable. Again, the next one is non-flammable. It's very clear again because no electricity or current is passed through that. Okay, so that means there is no fire hazard. Of course, up to a certain temperature. You cannot claim it even though I keep it very high temperature and then also optical fiber cannot flame. So it is flammable, but up to a normal temperature range, up to 100, 200, maybe 300 degree, it may not be flammable. Okay, so generally, if that is the range we are dealing right now in our daily life, so one can consider as non-flammable. Then this is the next flexible. This is also very important. Okay, because optical fiber cables are flexible. Okay, you are knowing that because the diameter is very small. Okay, and so many thinner is also there, thinner cables. So you see, it can be flexible, easily bend it. Okay, transmit, receive, all such things it can do. Okay, and you see they are used in many flexible digital cameras also. So at many places you see wherever. Just wait a minute. Okay. So you see this. These are the places you can go for many a times, like mechanical imaging as well as in the plumbing. Suppose अगर आपको सीवर लाइन्स को इंस्पेक्ट करना है, then there are two ways. Either you go down manually, or else you can use such kind of techniques. Okay, so no need to go manually to inspect the sewer lines. So that's how one can prefer this optical fiber cables here also. Okay, and this is how you see people are using this also in the mechanical imaging to inspect some mechanical welds in pipes or engines. Okay, suppose this heavy machinery devices, aeroplanes or rockets, then it may be very difficult to go manually and checking. So that's why this optical fiber cable can be useful for all these devices or these instrument or these let's say heavy machineries. Okay, then come to the next. Here it is in medical field also you see. Okay, this is the case of that medical field. Okay, flexibility you see, and that is why they are inserting this optical fiber cable in your body. Okay, because it is so flexible, and they are putting this wires optical fiber network in your bodies to observe the changes which are there. Okay, so that particular field we are knowing as branchoscopy. In the medical science, if you use this optical fiber cable in this technique, then that field we are knowing as a branchoscopy. So you see, this branchoscope is a thin, flexible fiber optic telescope only. So this is how more such details you can find it out about this branchoscopy part.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
सी सिस्टम तो एंडोस्कोपी में होती है ना दैट थिन वायर होता है and they used to
Yes,
just
yes.
swab.
एंडोस्कोपी इज ए प्रोसेस. ओके, और अगर आप फाइबर के साथ यूज कर रहे हो तो वो जो टेक्निक है उसको हम लोग ब्रांचोस्कोपी बोलते हैं. एंडोस्कोपी है ऑफकोर्स, उसमें वही सेम सेटअप वही है आपका, लेकिन फाइबर के साथ का जो टेक्निक है दैट वी आर नोइंग एज ए ब्रांचोस्कोपी. ब्रांचोस्कोप यू सी, ये दिस नेम जो जो सेटअप होगा उसको हमने ब्रांचोस्कोप नेम दिया है. ओके, एंडोस्कोपी में करते वही, एंडोस्कोपी इज अ डिफरेंट प्रोसेस, बट उसमें यूज आपको यही करना है केबल्स का, तभी आप देख पाते हो सारी चीजें. तो प्रोसेस को नाम दिया है पूरा मेडिकल फील्ड में, और ये जो सेटअप है उसको ब्रांचोस्कोप नाम दिया हुआ है.
Sir, I wanted to ask that how
Yes.
would we see the objects? Like there is a very dark down there.
You see this So क्या करते हैं जनरली, आई एम नॉट फ्रॉम दैट मेडिकल फील्ड बट स्टिल जितना मुझे पता है, दे आर सेंडिंग द लाइट सिग्नल. ओके, ऑप्टिकल फाइबर्स का पर्पज ही क्या है, वो सिग्नल जो है आपका जो लाइट है वो इस सिग्नल के थ्रू आप वो सेंड करते हैं केबल्स के
Okay.
थ्रू. ओके, एंड दे हैव सम डिवाइसेस. इट इज नॉट लाइक कि ऑप्टिकल फाइबर से ही डिवाइस डेटा वापस ले रहे हैं. तो डिवाइसेस उनके पास दूसरे हैं जिससे वो डेटा फेच कर सकते हैं, राइट. लेकिन
Hello, sir.
जैसे तुमने बोला कि डार्कर साइड है अंदर, अगर मुझे देखना
हाँ.
है तो कैसे देखेंगे. So that's how the optical fiber. Of course, there are many roles will be there, but you need to explore कि और क्या क्या possibility है.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Annie, yes.
Sir, actually, they are sending the laser light, like red colored light into our body, and because
Okay.
of which they can see very clearly everything on the screen.
Yes. So that's
Uh, that thin wire is of, digestible plastic, so that if some particles are inside our body, then we won't get harm.
yes. Fine. Now it is clear. Okay, so I hope it is clear now. So purpose is same as I said. You need to see clearly what is inside. Okay, so आपको light signal incident करवाना है fibers के through. And someone has also come out this particular thing here, that bronchoscopy is basically involving this lungs part. Okay, so yes, he may be right also, because we can see on the screen also this right main bronchos as well as this left main. Okay, but here what I was talking about, this setup which we are knowing as a bronchoscope. Okay, that consists of a thin flexible fiber optic telescope. So that setup we are knowing as a bronchoscope. So fine. Yes, so it is in lungs. So fine. So bronchoscopy basically deals with this lungs part. Okay, endoscopy may be some different part. So these are the terms which are there in the medical field. So you can explore more about this. Now coming to the next, data security. Okay, so this is also very important. So at this time, in today's time, if you see, everyone is alert about their data, like what kind of data is going to be recorded by the system. Okay, whatever the service you are going to use on the Android phone or maybe on some Gmail account or Yahoo account, then everyone is insecure about their data, like how my data is going to be used if someone is going to use in some illegal activities or something. So everyone is worried about it, right? So that is why it is very important that your data has to be secure. So optical fibers plays an important role compared to the other mediums like coaxial cable and so. So if you remember, I give you the example last time also that coaxial cable, anyone can tape that wire, okay, and put some extra wire and get it the signal. Of course, quality may not be same, but you can tape that signal. You can catch that signal particularly from the coaxial cable. But in case of optical fiber, it's very difficult because the moment you try to cut at some part, okay, your entire signal will stop. So that is how one can easily come to know if there is some connectivity problem or if there is some broken case of the optical fiber cable. So one can easily came to know about this problem. कि yes, somewhere the cable is not working, cable is faulty at some place. So आपका जो entire signal है वो ही पूरा रुक जाएगा. So it's very easy. It's very secure. One can say compared to any other medium. Okay. And another one is the lightweight. As I said, it's very thinner. Okay, so if you compare, okay, and if I suggest you people to carry out, let's say 40 meter optical fiber cable and 40 meter long, let's say coaxial cable. So which one will you will prefer to carry? Of course, optical fiber cables, because they are very lightweight compared to the coaxial cable. Because if you can imagine 40 meter coaxial cable is how much long, okay, and you can imagine the weight also of that. So that is why these are very lightweight and preferable to carry out also. Occupy less space also because it's very thinner, and you see of the same information capacity or even higher than compared to the coaxial cable. So it's preferable always you go for the optical fiber cable. Okay. Next is again you see another important thing, that is easy to install. Okay. So many a times we already seen you required only one simple connector, and easily you can plug it in router or somewhere. Okay. So that means installing part is very simple compared to any other thing. So that's how you can use. और आपको कुछ डर जैसा भी नहीं कि मुझे करंट लगेगा या कुछ करंट लगने के चांसेस होते हैं. So it's very simple if you go to install these type of cables. Okay. Another is this one, low signal loss. As I said, you compare with any all such other mediums which are there previously. Okay, so if you compare, the signal loss is very limited, and that is why you will get most of the output at the output side. Okay, so losses very minimum hai, very less hai. That is why it's preferable always compared to other previous mediums. अगेन स्मॉलर साइज, ओके, वो सारी चीजें डिस्कस किया ही है सेम वे, बट एक कंपैरिजन दिया है कि कितना डिफरेंस है दोनों में, तो अराउंड 4.5 टाइम्स डिफरेंस इतना कुछ आता है, ओके, कैपेसिटी वाइज है जो भी है, तो इससे क्लियर। एंड इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट इज दिस वन, okay, cost factor basically. So you see the raw materials basically is the glass, mainly SiO2, silica, so they are abundant in a large quantity, that means, and it is also at cheap compared to other things. But remember one thing, not every optical fiber is cheap, okay, because they require some mechanism by which their properties are different, okay, and that is why few of the optical fibers are very very costly. So you cannot generalize everything. Okay, in general, I mean, generally we are saying cheap, but you cannot expect that all optical fibers are basically cheap only. No, it all depends on the requirement which you may have in your practical. Okay, आपको जो भी task करना है उसमें requirement आपका कितना है. According to that, these fiber cable are very very costly. And one such example, if you say, you just search about wavelength shifting fiber. Okay, and that optical fiber cables are prepared by only few countries, manufactured by only few countries. I think Japan is one of them, and a few other countries also, maybe US and some other. Okay, but in India still it is not possible to create or manufacture that kind of optical fiber cable. Okay, so
Sir, which kind of optical fiber?
वेवलेंथ शिफ्टिंग ऑप्टिकल फाइबर, जिसमें आपका वेवलेंथ चेंज हो जाता है फाइबर के अंदर ही,
Okay.
सिग्नल
Okay, sir.
Okay, so you just search about more. I have given you the idea. Okay, so you explore more if you have time or if you are interested in that kind of activity. So that is one particular case जिसमें आपको पता लगेगा कि what may be the approximate cost compared to normal optical fiber cables. They are very costly, general compared to this normal cables. So that's how I think we have covered. And these are the general advantages I have listed down once again in just one single frame so that you can go through it quickly. So extremely wide bandwidth, okay, immune to EMI, RFI, lighter weight, smaller size, secure, of course, and lifetime is longer compared to coaxial cables. Lifetime is longer and maintenance is also easy. So that's how these are the advantages we are having the optical fiber setup.